Hi, my name is Keith Crosby, and this is my testimony of healing. June 10th, 2015 was a day that will forever define God's love, mercy, and truth for our family. You see, the miracle that God performed not only is my testimony, but that of my wife, my 2 children, close friends, and family. Especially my wife, who never left my side and walked with me through the flames of certain death, and like the 3 that were thrown into the furnace, we also were untouched by death's flames. A week prior, we attended a community-wide prayer outside the home of a dear friend dying from stage 4 cancer. Afterwards, the mother of this friend contacted Nikki, my wife, to alert her to the fact that I was a very sick man and needed to see a doctor. It had been several years since I had felt well and was gradually getting worse. But I just thought it was part of getting older and not really taking care of myself. However, when the mother of a terminally ill cancer patient notices how bad my condition is out of the group of hundreds of people that were there, that's when I finally decided maybe I did need to see a doctor. Friday, June 10th, 2015, I drove myself from Dalhart, where we lived at the time, to Amarillo to my doctor's appointment, knowing it wasn't going to be good. However, it wound up being much worse than I expected. For about 3 months, I got to a point where I had no color, my bones and joints hurt to an intolerable level, I could feel and hear my pulse inside my ears, never had energy, and would run out of breath often. I had to make myself literally get up out of bed every morning. I would come home and go straight to bed most days, often praying that I wouldn't wake up. That's how sick I was. I anticipated finding out that I was borderline diabetic, high blood pressure, along with a list of other ailments that would require extensive medications. But what happened next knocked the breath out of me physically, emotionally, and spiritually. As I sat in the room at the doctor's waiting to be seen, I noticed a decor sign with the scripture from Proverbs 3:5. Lean not on to your own understanding. In all ways he shall direct your path. I did not know that sign was a sign of what was to come. My doctor, whose name is Daryl, whom I've known and been friends with for a while, walked in, greeted me, took one look at me, and he said, "Let me have a lab tech come get some blood from you. I think I know what the problem is." So in a few minutes, a lady came in and tried to draw blood. However, it took a lot of effort to get enough to fill the vial. After about 20 minutes, Daryl came back in with a very somber yet curious look of concern on his face. He was very quiet, sat down, and his first words were, "I don't really know how to say this. You are the sickest person I have ever seen in my 20-something years of medicine that is still alive." At that moment, shock overwhelmed me. Fear started creeping in, and as always, I had a sarcastic response. "This is why I don't come see you. You never have good news for me." He then began asking me various questions and explaining my condition. My hemoglobin level was below a life-sustaining point. He told me a normal level for a person of my age was 16 to 18. I had a 3.8 hemoglobin level. He went on to tell me that my white versus red cell counts were way off as well. It was gut check time. Then he began eliminating possible causes from internal bleeding with many questions, which I'll save you the gruesome details, but all the answers I had for those questions were no. He finally said, the only thing left is some form of leukemia, followed by, we need to get you over to the hospital right now. You shouldn't even be alive, much less coherent sitting here talking to me. It seemed like a pretty intelligent, reasonable idea. However, at that moment, God spoke so clearly to me that it was absolutely undeniable. Go home. I will take care of it. Do not go over to that hospital yet. Didn't seem like a very intelligent, reasonable idea to me. However, when God speaks, He knows what is best. And I looked up, and just above Daryl's head, I saw that sign again with Proverbs 3:5. And it became clear that that sign was meant to help me understand that God was in control, not me, if I was willing to give Him all control. After explaining what God was speaking to me, Daryl prayed with me, and we both agreed I would come back first thing Monday and have another blood test done. I did find out later from Daryl that he thought that would be the last time he would see me alive on this earth. I began my journey home while calling my wife to explain what just happened and to start praying immediately. I got home, went that night, and coached my son's championship baseball game. Because you can wait around on death, or you can trust by living as if nothing is wrong. All in all, I'd say it was a pretty productive day for a dead guy. Over the course of the weekend, we shared what was happening with close friends and family who prayed with us, as well at church that Sunday as I shared the news of what was happening to us and what God was going to do about it. Monday, Nikki and I went back to Daryl's office where he drew more blood, and we found out that my hemoglobin level had already risen from that 3.8 to a 4.2. And the cell count levels were back to normal. We were ready for a battle that God was going to help us win. So we went to the hospital to receive tests and blood transfusions. After 5 pints of blood and a week's worth of miserable tests, which again I'll save you the gruesome details of, the conclusion finally came down to inconclusive. They couldn't find a cause for the extreme blood loss that I was having. It was unexplainable. Here we were, ready to fight an epic battle, knowing God was going to let us win, only to show up for a war that had been fought and won. When God says He will take care of it, He means every word. There was a lesson to be learned from this experience about faith, that the depth of faith is important, not the size of faith. Romans 12:3 says, to each is given a measure of faith. That measure is equal to each one of us. No one's faith is bigger than or smaller than someone else's. It is the depth of our faith that matters. And the depth of it is up to us. Getting deep and staying deep in our faith is no easy task, as we would soon find out. Ezekiel 47 talks about a great river flowing from the temple of God. and at every point along the river it measured the same distance across. That is our measure of faith. However, at different stages of that river, the depth increased. It starts at the ankle, then to the knees, up to the waist, then the chest, then up to your neck, until the next stage is jumping into at a point you cannot touch the bottom. You have to be able to jump into the very depths of your faith and trust that God will not let you drown. And believe me, at times, it really feels like you are about to drown. Verse 8 says, when it reaches the sea, its waters are healed. We had no choice but to hold on until we reached the sea in the very depths of our faith. Nothing to hold on to except a promise from the Father, and God fulfilled that promise of healing in the end. The healing is only part of the journey of this testimony. It is a continuing book of chapters still being written every day as we learn more and more. However, the next chapters are for another time and place. Thank you.